Hello and welcome to today's broadcast. I'm Greg Statton from the Office of the CTO here at Cohesity. I'm delighted to be your host and thrilled you're joining us. We're excited to share with you our advancements in conversational AI. We call it Cohesity Gaia. Cohesity is the first data security and management vendor to bring the power of retrieval augmented generation to the enterprise. With Cohesity Gaia, you'll be able to transform your data into knowledge in ways that we haven't ever seen before, all with the same simplicity and security you'd expect from Cohesity. Having a conversation with your data means faster decisions, smarter analysis, and more actionable business insights for your organization. Or as I like to put it, Cohesity Gaia helps you reduce your time to action. We have an incredible lineup today. First, I want to introduce our latest innovations, Cohesity Gaia, an AI-powered conversational assistant. Then, Ryan Reed, head of IT products and services at JSR Corporation, will sit down with Tanya Chen, our global vice president of corporate communication and investor relations, to share his insights using Cohesity Gaia to easily access their data and turn it into knowledge, plus the benefits he sees for the scientists who develop products across his global organization. Our next conversation is with some of the industry's top AI leaders and talent. Manuvir Das, VP of Enterprise Computing at NVIDIA, Marco Casalaina, VP of Products, Azure AI at Microsoft, and our own CEO, the man, the myth, the legend, Sanjay Poonen, will discuss their vision for generative AI and the pivotal role of an enterprise AI platform can play. And we're not stopping there. You'll have an opportunity to witness the value AI can bring to your data and analysis as Teresa Miller, our director of the technical advocacy group, is going to demo Cohesity Gaia for you. So much to talk about today. However, before we get to the announcement, we need to share what I believe everybody in industry loves to call a love letter from our legal department. This basically states that some of the content you're about to hear includes forward-looking statements. So please take a moment and read through this. Well, with that, let's get this conversation going. Today, we are thrilled to announce the upcoming general availability of Cohesity Gaia, an AI-powered conversational search assistant that uses generative AI to turn your enterprise data into knowledge. Cohesity Gaia lets users ask natural language questions in a simple conversational user interface. Leveraging the latest trends in retrieval augmented generation, or RAG for short, Cohesity Gaia retrieves semantically relevant information from secondary data within Cohesity and provides the user with contextual answers. That's very exciting that Cohesity customers can support their very first AI-powered conversational search experience within minutes or hours, instead of weeks or likely months needed to develop custom generative AI applications for enterprise data. It begins with our leading AI-powered data security management platform that helps customers manage, secure, and gain insights into their most important business assets, their data. It starts with data protection, including modern multi-cloud backup and recovery. From there, you can tackle even more advanced data security initiatives like isolating data in air-gapped cyber vault, discovering and identifying sensitive data based on their importance and sensitivity, and proactively scanning for threats. And this expands to address data mobility, data access, and ultimately, data insights. We're going to focus on that fifth pillar today and how Cohesity is uniquely positioned to support AI-powered data insights based on over a decade of helping customers protect their data at scale and get more value from their data. First, our platform was built on the core tenets and beliefs of hyperconvergence. In a parallel architecture, it works on vast quantities of data at scale. We've supported native cloud services for many years, whether our customers own clouds or as a service from Cohesity. These core competencies are really important for large language models, which can be very compute intensive. And very importantly, is that our data security management platform is architected in such a way to support a secure and responsible access layer for AI. At the foundation of our AI innovations is the concept of responsible AI, with the capabilities and frameworks that let customers introduce AI to backup data securely, safely, and responsibly at scale, including our fine-based role-based access controls that user queries only access data to the users that are permitted to see it. So how does Cohesity Gaia work? Simply put, let's look at an example scenario from a compliance team in a healthcare organization who may want to do some investigative research about whether any sensitive patient data was leaked in email. I'll talk a little bit about what happened on the back end. To start, our customers protect petabytes of enterprise data with Cohesity today. Cohesity creates a single data repository for backup data that is fully indexed, deduplicated, and includes unlimited historical snapshots. With Cohesity Gaia, we create a vector database so that the data is highly searchable in a very efficient way for large language models. At launch, we'll support M365 and OneDrive data, and that'll expand to other workloads. The vectorization process makes it easy for RAG applications to retrieve important information about file types, date and time, file contents, which is all used by the LLM to generate rich response to business questions. Initially, we'll support Azure OpenAI, but we'll expand to support a bring your own language model from vendors like Amazon Bedrock or Google Vertex. And for the users, Cohesity Gaia has a multi-turn chat interface, so users can ask follow-up questions and get more information from the data. So a compliance team member can ask a question like, can you find the presence of patient names that may have been exposed in the last 120 days? And Cohesity Gaia can provide human-readable, highly contextual responses like, yeah, I found several patient names that were exposed in the last 120 days by email. Here's a few examples. Users can ask follow-up questions and dig deeper into the email contents within minutes. They're given to be able to accelerate an investigation and assess the risk before performing deeper analysis. Finally, before we get started for this event, we wanted to talk to you about what this means to you, our users. With Cohesity Gaia and retrieval augmented generation, you can significantly improve decision-making speed and accuracy because you're able to very quickly access relevant content from your vast library of enterprise data. And paired with large language models, generate concise summaries and answers to those questions in a single step. Instead of taking hours, days, or weeks to research and generate answers for business questions, you can get those insights in minutes. Second, when I asked our customers whether they've considered generative AI initiatives in 2024, you'd be shocked to hear that 100% of them said yes. These are transformative AI advancements, but many don't know where to start. With Cohesity Gaia, you can get started with generative AI using your backup data within Cohesity to get up and running in minutes or hours on a secure, highly performant RAG application instead of months developing a custom one. And finally, you can responsibly bring AI to your enterprise data with robust, fine-grained, role-based access controls that ensures users only see data that they're permitted to see. Stay tuned after the great interviews we have ahead to see Cohesity Gaia in action. As part of our launch, we want to show you how other organizations are leveraging and finding value in conversational AI. We partner with JSR Corporation to implement Cohesity Gaia pretty early. They're a global organization with over 47 sites and 7,500 employees. Their products are found everywhere, from the materials that make up your car's cup holder to the semiconductor materials that contribute to your car's sensors, or even the materials in the LCD you're watching today. This made their secondary data an ideal fit. And this is why I'm thrilled to introduce our next guest, who I've had the honor of collaborating with over the last handful of months. Ryan Reed, Head of IT Products and Services with JSR Corporation, will share his insights with Tanya Chen, our Global VP of Corporate Communications and Investor Relations. Tanya, take it away.
Thanks, Greg, and welcome Ryan to the program.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. I think starting off, I'd love to, in general today, we'd love to talk about your perspectives as a Cohesity customer about how AI will and is today a priority within your organization. So let's get started. JSR has been a Cohesity customer for a few years now, and I'd love to hear how you're using Cohesity today and how we're helping you solve some of IT's biggest challenges.
Yeah, you bet. When I first joined JSR, one of the biggest things that I was concerned about and still am concerned about today was ransomware. And so I asked my team, I said, we've got to find a solution that helps protect us from ransomware. At the same time, we were also trying to make sure that we were solving for our disaster recovery and our backup and making sure that those types of environments were taken care of. And as we looked across the market, really Cohesity was the only solution that ticked off all the boxes associated with security, disaster recovery, and that ransomware protection that we needed. And so we started deploying that initially with some on-prem solutions. We've been able to extend Cohesity to some of our other subsidiary companies now, where we're using cloud solutions, and then we also have it in multiple geographies as well.
That's awesome. Maybe talk a little bit about where AI ranks as a priority within your organization, and how is leadership and your board thinking about AI in general?
Yeah, you bet. So JSR is a materials innovation company. We are a very complex company that is spread across multiple different industries, but at the foundation of what we do is, as a materials innovation company, we are creating new chemical molecules, whether those are for our photolithography, whether that's in our plastics business or in our life sciences business. We're creating all of these different new IP on behalf of our products as well as behalf of our customers. And so what we see is that AI is going to help accelerate that significantly. We also see the need for AI to help us unlock our data. And so we're really focused as we transform our business. We're really looking at how do we make sure that we unlock the data that we have within our organization to enable it to become knowledge. And as we do that, then we empower our really smart scientists that are working all over the world to be able to be even more effective. And in some cases, take research that they may not have been aware of or may not have been able to access and be able to bring that to them. And we really see that AI helps break down those silos to enable us to turn that data into knowledge.
It makes perfect sense to me, because I don't think there's a single business out there that isn't really looking to take this mountains and mountains of data and make it something that's usable. So Ryan, I think that makes perfect sense. Maybe tell me a little bit about the benefits that you hope to gain with AI within your organization.
Yeah, as I said, one of the areas that we really hope to see that acceleration is to be able to take this knowledge that may be locked into a scientist's head or on a lab notebook, or based off of experiments that they're doing, and really democratize that data and enable other scientists to be able to ask questions through AI and be able to have a natural interface with the data. And then they can understand that as they're trying to potentially create the next molecule, that they can take that research or that information that they may not have known even existed. And now all of a sudden that becomes available for them. And so as opposed to them having to try to go find the data or try to create that data themselves, now we can bring all of this together and really put it in the hands of the users and making sure that they are able to be as effective as possible. So we really see AI accelerating our business and really, if you will, in a sense, becoming a partner to help us be more successful.
I know that your organization got a chance to test Cohesity Gaia as a part of our early access program. Can you talk a little bit about how you tested the product and what some of your initial feedback is on it?
Yeah, well, so as many companies, we've been obviously researching AI and how to use AI and what could it do in different areas. And with the enterprise data being one of our biggest use cases, we were super excited when we heard about Cohesity Gaia, because Cohesity is already touching all of our enterprise data. And so that was for us, that was directly aligned with what we're trying to achieve. And so what we've been doing is as we've been doing research, we've been having some different test cases against different products that are in the market, as well as working, on some of our own development as well. And for us, what we saw is that Cohesity was already accelerating a lot of those things so that we wouldn't necessarily have to build that ourselves. And so where we've been testing that is really some of the initial use cases that we tested against other products, where we would do a smaller subset of some of our enterprise data, and then we would have a set of questions to be able to see how it performed. And what we found is that Cohesity Gaia has performed as well or better than many of the models that we tested. So some of the large language models we eliminated pretty early on because they just weren't performing as we expected. And when we've seen Cohesity Gaia be able to really perform that, it's really easy to get the data into Cohesity Gaia, which has been one of the big areas that we've been looking at, which is how can we get the data in and align it to the large language model. And so that's where we've been doing that, where we have kind of a defined set of test cases that we've been running against Cohesity Gaia, and we've seen some really good results.
It's great to hear that you find using it simple. I think that's one of the things we very much pride our product on. So great to hear that that's, been your experience with Cohesity Gaia. Maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you guys face that AI might solve for you, and maybe talk a little bit about how that you can see that playing out in your organization.
You bet. One of the things we're really excited about AI and large language models is the fact that they bring translation to the table. And so for JSR, we have a number of people who are in Japan and do their work in Japanese, and we have research scientists in the US who are working in English, and we have scientists in Europe who are working in their native languages. And one of the things that we're looking forward to is the fact that now we can have users who can ask questions in their native language, and the data set that they can start to work with includes responses from all of those different languages. And so when they're interacting with the AI model, they're interacting in their normal language. They're able to ask the questions in the context that they want to be able to ask those questions, and the AI can bring all of that data to them. And we think that that's one of those areas that's really going to help us accelerate and unlock more of that knowledge that we're trying to share across the company.
That's a great answer, Ryan. Building on that, maybe talk a little bit about some of those pain point manual procedures that you guys have been dealing with that perhaps AI will be able to help you with.
Yeah, I think that some of it is just kind of, first of all, understanding the data. So one of the things we were excited about Cohesity Gaia is that the fact that it can already look and already has access to all of our data, and it can parse through that data so that we can actually interact with that data versus us having to figure out how to do that. But as we go forward in the future, some of the areas that we are really excited about, just where the technology of AI is going in general, is as we start to get more and more around images. So for us, a lot of our data that we're generating is images, and it's coming from scientific pieces of equipment, it's chromatograms, it's scanning electron microscopy, those types of things. And so as we get more and more of the AI landscape having the ability to understand and interact with data that's coming in as images, that is going to be another area that we think is going to be a huge leap forward for us. We, of course, also see that AI is going to help us throughout all of our different business areas. So, of course, we are leveraging AI more and more in security and helping us accelerate and understand what's going on in our environment. And certainly we are looking at that from a Cohesity standpoint, as well as within other products, and being able to bring those together to help reduce some of that manual tasks of understanding, all right, is this a false positive, or is this a real issue that we need to deal with? And as we go, we also expect that we start to see that some of those repeatable tasks really can start to be more automated faster. And that's an area that we continue to explore. I think that there's some great opportunities there to use AI to accelerate what people are doing. We don't think that it replaces jobs or anything, but we think that it becomes then something that helps people to be able to do their job more effectively and faster. So those are some of the areas we're really looking forward to, leveraging AI beyond just enabling that knowledge sharing across the company, but really helping to accelerate what people are able to do.
Let's talk about where you could envision you using the product over time. Are there some other use cases or challenges that you could possibly see that it could help you solve that you haven't had a chance to look at yet?
Well, one of the areas that we talked with the Cohesity Gaia team was around some of the legal discovery areas. And we definitely see that that could be a great use case. And for us, we have in many cases regulated components of our companies. And with that, we have concepts that are similar to legal discovery where we need to go back and we need to be able to search that data. When we first got Cohesity, one of the things that I was really excited about was the ability that we could flag certain data to be able to be retrieved or stored for a long period of time. And for us, as we're doing some of our research on behalf of clients, we might have to save data for up to 12 years. And so this concept of being able to now have Cohesity Gaia be able to look through a larger data set and making sure that we have everything in that data set for things like for regulatory filings. That's certainly an area we see that use case is definitely a good use case for us in the future as well. So that's one of the biggest areas where we start to see that from an acceleration standpoint, and where we hope to be able to use it in the future.
I think that's a great use case for a bunch of different customers in different industries, really, and it's great to hear you're considering using that. Another follow-up question is, what recommendations would you give others as they think about implementing an AI tool? What types of different considerations would you have them think about?
I think the first thing is really starting with security. And so this is an area that we've talked with the Cohesity Gaia team quite a bit about, which is once you start to surface this enterprise data, it's really important that you understand what are the security controls that you have on that data. And this is an area that we continue to look at, which is we need to think about our source data and making sure that that is secure, it has the right permissions, and that we can propagate that through to the different tools. And because once you start asking AI questions, it doesn't necessarily know. It just says, okay, well, if Ryan has access to be able to ask that question, I'm going to bring all of this data in front of Ryan, which in many cases, I may not even know if that data existed in the past because I just wouldn't know where to search for it or how to get to it. But AI brings that to the forefront. So it's really important that you understand the data that you're going to be doing and the security associated with that data. And that's, again, where one of the biggest areas that we are excited about Cohesity Gaia is being able to take some of the security controls that already exist in Cohesity and being able to apply that to how we think of retrieving that data.
Just like you, I think everybody at Cohesity is very excited to see where the AI technology can help us take customers. So, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a very insightful conversation, and we really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity. We've really enjoyed partnering with Cohesity, and we've been really excited about this technology and going on this journey as well.
Over to you, Greg.
Thank you, Tanya and Ryan. Such a great insight on how JSR was able to very simply gain never-before-seen insights from their data with Cohesity Gaia. It's just amazing at how quickly they're able to get actionable answers because all their data was already protected by Cohesity. Now, before we show you a demo of Cohesity Gaia, let's focus on generative AI and the pivotal role an enterprise AI platform can play. Recently, our CEO, Sanjay Poonen, caught up with Manuvir, VP of Enterprise Computing at NVIDIA, and Marco Casalaina, VP of Products, Azure AI at Microsoft. Let's take a look at their roundtable discussion.
Hello, everybody. I'm delighted here to be joined by two friends, Manuvir from NVIDIA, who runs the enterprise business there, and Marco Casalaina, who is part of the Azure OpenAI team. Ironically, Manuvir used to be at Microsoft. Marco was part of a company that I acquired at SAP many years ago, KXEN. So, in those days, we didn't call it AI, we call it predictive analytics. So these are two experts who know a lot about this. I'm just looking forward to dialoguing with them. I'm sitting on a day where today NVIDIA became the third largest market cap company. Of course, these stock prices fluctuate, but here you have the second biggest market cap and the third biggest market cap in the world. It's remarkable, and I'm just honored to be talking to two luminaries in this area. Manuvir, I want to start with you. Obviously, I consider NVIDIA just so iconic of a company. I've known Jensen for many years. for most people know this today, but maybe you can start with what is your and NVIDIA's vision for enterprise AI?
Yeah, I think, Sanjay, we really grew up as a company known for building GPUs. But the reality is that AI has been around for many years now, and NVIDIA built a lot of software over time for predictive AI. And of course, now we have the advent of generative AI. So really, our mission at NVIDIA is to democratize the use of AI, and especially generative AI, across companies, because it's a universal use case, right? So if you ask me, what is NVIDIA really focused on these days? It's two things. One, we believe that accelerated computing is ready, and the ecosystem in general needs to adopt accelerated computing because you can get a lot more done with the same amount of power and the same amount of data center space. And two, we believe that generative AI is going to transform every company, and we are here to help make that happen.
That's amazing. I love it. And so the enterprise AI stack then should work in a hybrid cloud environment on-prem and also in a public cloud environment. Is that accurate?
Absolutely, Sanjay. That's how we build everything. You find our GPUs in every cloud, in servers from every manufacturer, at every colo facility. And our software works the same way. Our software runs everywhere. We like to say we're the only AI company that works with every AI company,
Wow.
and we provide the core platforms, hardware and software that enable AI everywhere.
That's amazing. And that's what we like about it too. That hybrid multi-cloud world and working with NVIDIA is an absolutely great opportunity. Marco, let's kind of switch to Microsoft. Obviously, the advent of OpenAI was such an incredible moment. And to watch Satya launch, they've got a new vision. And now obviously you've got Azure OpenAI. Everyone's kind of knows about ChatGPT and OpenAI. But what's the nuance of Azure OpenAI and what's Microsoft doing with that foundation of OpenAI in the context of your enterprise focus, co-pilots? Give us the summary there.
Yeah, well, in fact, I have a pretty cool job here. I'm VP Products of Azure AI, not just OpenAI, but it also includes our language, speech, vision, and responsible AI stacks. And that's what it's really all about. It's these OpenAI models, they are absolutely amazing. Everybody now has tried ChatGPT and seen what it can do, but what we're doing is making it amenable to folks like you, folks like Cohesity, so that you can use it in your enterprise applications. And it works responsibly, it works multilingually, that it can see, that it can speak. And so we're adding all of these capabilities around these core amazing models.
Marco, do you think one day a large language model will be able to help me compose a song that can be played on that piano behind you?
I think that day is today, actually. There exists already these large language model based systems like Suno.ai that can actually compose songs. I've done it myself.
That's great. I hope you're a pianist like me. I'm super excited about both the summarization and the kind of the capabilities. I mean, as a computer science major myself, and at the time when I was studying what were at the time expert systems, we didn't even call it artificial intelligence. It was all rule based when I was in college, and it's just so amazing now to have the compute power, all the great work that NVIDIA and Microsoft are doing, and we're honored to be working with you too, Microsoft, which I'm going to get to in a second in the context of retrieval augmented generation. Manuvir, coming back to you, you guys are at the center. What's been remarkable to me, and I've watched you guys, the first partnership I did with you guys was VDI at VMware, but the way in which you have industry focused your UI AI use cases, and that's at the center of a lot of what you're doing. What are some of the use cases you're seeing of both the GPU and the enterprise AI stack in a few industries? Because I think it'd be good for the audience to hear some of those use cases.
Yeah, I would start, Sanjay, by saying that the remarkable thing about Gen AI actually is that we have been working, as you said, industry at a time. In every industry, what we would do is we would go to a few leaders in that industry, understand what they do on a daily basis, and identify use cases that are very specific to them, right? So it's very vertical focused. That's how NVIDIA has run for many years now. But I'll start by saying that for Gen AI, there's a universal use case, which is assistance, right? It's basically no matter what job function you're in as an employee, and no matter which company you're at, if I give you a free intern, that will be useful to you, right? If you could have an intern sitting next to you who could do a whole bunch of the work that you do, 80% of the work, and then you finish it, that'd be useful. And so now that's basically what has led to this AI assistance, right? Which can be fairly generic, and you can see them in two ways. One, you see copilots built into software applications like CRM applications or productivity. And then the other is, for example, at a company like NVIDIA, we have 130 chatbots that we've already built around the company that we use on a daily basis. And they become vertical because it depends on what business you're in. So NVIDIA, for example, we design GPUs. And we actually have a chatbot that we use in our GPU design team to help us design GPUs, because we look up all the previous documentation and history of all our GPUs, right? So I think it's both the broad and then the vertical. I think we've seen PR teams across companies use chatbots to basically write the next press release, so you understand the tone of voice of your company and you can express it the same way. We've seen finance teams do reports for their quarterly earnings and things like that based on all the public information's out there. So I think really this AI assistants is what I would say. Whether you think of them as interns that could be either broad or very specific to every company, we're just seeing a proliferation of those.
It's amazing. And I've just watched some of these big brands, automotive companies, talking about what they're doing in NVIDIA. I was at the JP Morgan Healthcare conference. I'm on the board of Philips, one of the top global brands, and went there. And I was surprised, like one of the keynote speakers there was NVIDIA at a healthcare conference. And of course, the future of medical records and searching things there and all of that stuff is going to be revolutionized.
Yeah, Sanjay, just to finish that point, right? Because we do think about large language models. We also think about other modalities like text and video. But one of the things we are very proud of at NVIDIA is there are languages much beyond that. So there's the language of proteins. And we've built models that understand the language of proteins. And this is why we participate in drug discovery. That's why you saw us there, right? And so I think that concept applies to languages far beyond speech or text or things like that.
I think it's an incredible moment. I mean, some analysts have called it like an iPhone moment or the birth of the internet moment. I do hope, as much as it's going to help our productivity, help us write press releases faster, help college students summarize Leo Tolstoy's books or whatever have you. I hope it'll also save lives. If we can find cures for cancer and things of those kinds in healthcare, it's remarkable. I mean, building on this concept of assistance, Marco, maybe I can switch to you. Obviously, we're going through a Copilot revolution, right? I mean, every time I turn around, there's a new Copilot for Microsoft products, starting with Office. And I think it's going to be amazing because everyone will use that term, Copilot's assistant. How many Copilots do you guys have at Microsoft? And is that the way we should be thinking about this, where there is an assistant and Copilot for not just all of Microsoft products, but for every product, there's some kind of avatar Copilot that helps us?
Well, it's really coalescing back into one Copilot. So while originally there was a GitHub Copilot and a Word Copilot, a PowerPoint Copilot, and so on, now it's really just Microsoft Copilot. And it's manifesting itself in every Microsoft product. But all of this is built on the Azure AI platform. That's the part of the business that I'm in. And we enable companies like yourselves, like Cohesity, to build your own Copilots. That's the whole point.
Let me kind of ask the last question here. As we think about retrieval augmented generation, which is a key concept, we went up to Microsoft, studied it and implemented it. And now we have this beautiful product called Gaia, which is named after Greek goddess. Maybe starting with you, Marco, what's Microsoft doing in RAG? And I want to ask Manuvir the same question with the things he's doing with Nemo Retriever.
Well, RAG is at the core of everything that we do with Microsoft Copilot. And so it can look through your emails and your calendar entries, your recorded meetings, and all kinds of things to find the information that you're looking for. And of course, for you folks at Cohesity, you're using it to find information in stuff that's backed up from things like Microsoft 365. But looking forward, imagine the next step of AI going beyond RAG is where you can actually use that information to take action. I mean, imagine if I could actually use it, not just to find the stuff in my backups, but my legal team is asking for some information and I can use the new system to find it and actually share it to them. That's what comes after RAG.
Wonderful. Manuvir, what's your view? And tell us about Nemo Retriever and some of the other things you guys are working on.
Yeah, I think we're obviously very aligned with what Marco said and Microsoft's thinking, but I would say there's two things we're focused on. One is for all the people doing information retrieval with RAGs, how do we empower them to do it where their data is? How can they take the models, put them in their briefcase and take it with them so that they can host it right where their data resides, right? And then the other thing is, we're the graphics company. So we know a thing or two about image and video and speech. And so we see really the next step as when we talk about talking to your data, you're not talking to it in text, right? You're communicating in a human fashion with speech and video, and that's the communication, but you're looking up all the files and things that you've got in your data repository, right? So I think those are exciting.
It's an incredible time. I mean, listen, our view is we envision a world where Copilot in Office 365, you'll be able to retrieve your hot data, but when you want to go to backup data, there'll be a plugin that we plug into. That's our angle of Microsoft. We're honored to be working with Microsoft. Any of the stuff that you build in the enterprise AI stack, Manuvir, that allows us to do RAG faster, we will build on top of that. You'll see more of us working very closely with these two great companies, folks. We're just honored. Microsoft and NVIDIA are at the crux of so much AI innovation. It's a tremendous honor to have them as our key partners in this launch. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate the time today and look forward to much more innovation together with you and your product teams.
What a great discussion. And a view into how these two top companies are thinking about the future of AI. Really, there's a couple of things that stood out to me. Number one is how organizations can leverage Microsoft Copilot to build AI into their enterprise applications responsibly. And Manuvir's reference to not only their specific use case for generative AI, but the broader use case that everyone needs an assistant. It's kind of an interesting concept. This is a great segue into a live demo of Cohesity Gaia to demonstrate the insights you can get from having a basic conversation with your data. Now, I'd like to welcome our director of the technical advocacy group here at Cohesity, Teresa Miller. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for having me today.
I'm so excited. During Ryan Reed's segment, one of the possible use cases he discussed is being able to leverage Cohesity Gaia to assist you with the legal and compliance audit. Can we ask Gaia to accomplish that?
We can, absolutely. So I would love to transition into showing our audience today what that could look like. So let me go ahead and get that situated. So as you said, and as we heard from Ryan, our customers are telling us that the critical challenges they are facing today oftentimes hinge on governance and understanding if they have regulatory compliance violations outside of secured systems. With the power of Cohesity Gaia, we can help enterprises such as yours research and understand those risks. So today in my demo, we have a compliance officer that has brought forward some information, and they need to research the leakage of a couple different things. One is bankruptcy details, and the other is possible employee incentives that may have been paid during a similar time frame. All may have been shared through email. So this all starts with creating a data set. Before our compliance officer can research these violations, IT Ops needs to take the simple step of configuring this by giving it a name, choosing our data source, and then selecting the objects that the research will occur through. In our case, it's 25 mailboxes. And then lastly, give the compliance officer access to that data. Now, I already have this set up, so I canceled, and we're going to go ahead and head back into our AI assistant interface. So let's get started with asking Cohesity Gaia, after switching to our data set, a question that wraps around one of the compliance officer's questions, and that's bankruptcies. So I input that question, and I'm going to go ahead and just click on search, and that will go ahead and get things started. Now, while this is running, I'd like to point out that Cohesity Gaia comes pre-configured with an Azure OpenAI large language model, which you can see selected here as Cohesity Touring. I'd also like to point out that behind the scenes, Cohesity Gaia was taking our question and comparing that data within our index for a defined data set. Now think about this. Organizations typically have terabytes of data. But when we created our data set, we only took a portion of that data to better refine the search. So Cohesity Gaia took my question, analyzed it against the data set using Cohesity Turing, a large language model, to return the answer. Now, if we review the output, we can see that Sharon Sulo sent an email to multiple recipients, including some outside the organization. And this included information around bankruptcies and included some attachments. We have the bankruptcy attachment and we have the new distressed one, which had bankruptcy in it. So definitely some more research needs to happen. Now I'm going to transition to the other question around employee earned liquidation incentives and do some research on that. So while this is running, we're really starting to see the power of this tool and how Cohesity Gaia can take a single question to aid in researching potential compliance violations and turn this into a full-fledged, detailed answer. These answers allow for you to grab the history, download the files, and put them into a summary-focused finding report where this can be documented and further action can be taken. So now that we have those results, we can see some employee earned liquidation incentives did definitely occur. And so now the compliance officer has many details that will help them further research and document these various potential violations. So with that, that wraps up what I want to show you today. And Greg, let's take this back to you.
Awesome. Teresa, that's absolutely amazing. You've been working with us and Cohesity Gaia for quite some time now. What's kind of surprised you the most about this?
To me, I really have some firsthand experiences around how long this type of research can take. And when I consider how I could just collect or select a data set and ask Gaia a question, the time to getting those answers was so short. You've just reduced my time to answer significantly.
Yeah, absolutely. If we think about that data set that you were using there was roughly like 80, 90,000 emails that Cohesity Gaia was able to then, after indexing, semantically filter through based on your questions and deliver you actionable insights right out of the right out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And thank you so much for demoing Cohesity Gaia for us today.
Absolutely.
As you all continue your AI journey, I encourage you to reach out to your account executives or visit our website, cohesity.com. Before we wrap up, I want to thank all of you for joining us. Your participation and input makes all the difference. And of course, there's a survey coming, so please tell us your thoughts and put a good word in for me. I'm pretty sure it's annual review time around here. We look forward to seeing you at future Cohesity events. Thank you all for your time.